This is Unleashed. We are here to talk to
Working with the youth for 2 decades.
a very influential youth in the Ashanti region.
Volu-
Then you
Yeah.
are volunteer as well.
So I did the volume, and then right after that,
He has been involved in impacting lives,
9 years. So I left the DNV in 2018.
especially the youth of Ashanti region.
It's still students activism.
It appears it's your bona fide
Absolutely.
position,
So
and
no,
you enjoy doing it.
not at all.
Because you've been there for quite a long time.
Yes, but they always renew my mandate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's popularly known as Sir Raph.
They a voice of Otumfo,
Yeah.
and the student can't identify the voice of Otumfo.
And since then, there have been no sporting activities in our schools.
And we want to do that, we want to do that, but I tell them, your life, this is entertainment. And again, when you are voting, the results is already showing. My dear students who have completed school this year, the situation will not be rosy. Do something that you have not done for yourself. Learn a trade. You would have an extra advantage.
This is Unleashed, a program that is meant to throw light on youth who are championing causes that will help the future generation to realize their potential. We are shaping minds whilst changing attitude. We are here to talk to a very influential youth in the Ashanti region. He has been with the youth. With most of his youthful life, he has been involved in impacting lives, especially the youth of Ashanti region. And he's popularly known as Sir Raph. Sir Raph,
Yes, sir.
you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
How long have you been working with youth?
I've been working with the youth for 2 decades, for 20 years now. It's been something that I have done right after senior high school. I have been in students activism and advocacy at various levels, building student leaders and shaping lives, like you said, and impacting generations. So that's what we've been doing for 20 years.
That's great. That's wonderful. So from senior high school, let's look at it from that point. What did you do next?
Alright, so because I was involved with the SRC at the senior high school level, right after that, there's a group called APEC. Being involved with APEC gives you that opportunity to engage students, conduct orientations, build capacities of students, meet at congresses, conduct committee sessions, and guide students based on the experiences that you have gathered over the years in your students' activism. So right from there, then I became a regional SRC coordinator.
After senior high school, where did you have your tertiary education?
Well, so I did the KNUST for first degree. I read Bachelor of Science and Materials Engineering at the School of Engineering, KNUST.
Wow.
Then the second degree, I also did it at KNUST, Master of Science in Environmental Resources Management. Then I did a Diploma in Education at University of Education, Winneba. So this has been my educational life.
So let's look at whilst you were at Tech, right from level 100 to 400. Were you actively involved in student activism?
I was at Tech, and I was a student regional coordinator for the second cycle.
Wow.
Managing this office. So for 2 years of my life at KNUST, because of my involvement with the SHS SRC as a regional coordinator, I couldn't do politics on campus as well. So I was on the flip side and all that. But mainly, even during my tertiary life, I was still involved with the SHS SRCs.
That's great. So from the tertiary level, then right after school, you were employed. Did that happen?
Okay, so from the tertiary level, right after the first degree, I did my national service at DGMF Senior High School where I taught. And then after the 1 year, I did then what we call it, we used to call it voluntary. I was looking for that.
Then you are volunteer as well.
So I did the volume, and then right after that, based on the service we rendered, the school initiated effort to have me recruited.
Wow.
So then I was recruited and then taught as a permanent teacher at the DGMP Senior High School in 2009. I completed 2007, and then in 2009 I was there as a permanent teacher. So from a DGMP then I did almost 9 years at the DGMP. Then I moved to UKES.
9 years?
Yes, I did. Then I moved to UKES.
So it means you left DGMP around 2006, 2007?
No. See,
2016, 2017?
Yes, I went to the DGMP in 2007, did 2 years before I was permanently recruited.
Okay.
So that would be 2009.
Yes.
And then I did 9 years. So I left the DGMP in 2018.
2018.
Then 2018 I came to UKES. Then I was permanently, I was brought here as the regional training officer,
Okay.
or deputy HR for Ghana Education Service Ashanti,
I see.
or regional training officer. And then I double as the regional SRC coordinator as well. So regional SRC coordinator is not it's not a job.
I
It's
see.
not it's not an employment.
Okay.
That one is for still students activism.
It appears it's your bona fide position,
So
and you enjoy doing it.
not at all.
Because you've been there for quite a long time.
Yes, but they always renew my mandate.
Yeah.
See, every 2 years,
Yeah.
based on what you have done, they will
Yes.
look at it and renew your mandate. If you have not served them well,
Yeah.
they can decide not to renew your mandate. That is not a job. That is not a permanent job. My job is the regional training officer for Ghana Education Service Ashanti.
There's one particular program that has really been popular on social media and now in the mainstream media as well, and it's known as Ultimate Senior High School
Yes. High
Quiz.
school quiz, yes.
Tell me, what is the genesis of this program?
Okay, so the genesis of this program is that when I took over as the regional, my first stint as a regional coordinator was when I was in tertiary.
Yes.
Okay, then in 2016 I came back again for my second stint with the SRC. There was a program that we were running, ECMI Quiz. But you see, we were running it behind, it wasn't known, it wasn't popular, people didn't know much about it, a few schools were involved and all that. But because of my background as a media man, I talked to, then I was employed with EIB Network. So we sat down and I told them that I have this program that is running. I believe that it has a lot of potential. Why don't you come on board? Let's repackage, rebrand it, and let's push it to GH1 TV, and it will do well. So after a long conversation, then we agreed to do it. And then we did the first year, we've done the second year, now we are in the third year. And it's been great, it's been massive. The response has been massive. A lot of teachers, students, and even general public are following with keen interest because it is something that you can relate with. It is not like science, it's not like math, this is something that is around you and all that. So it's quite interesting. That is how we came by the Ultimate High School Quiz.
I have had the opportunity to watch some of these quizzes, and I must say it is really educative and informative, and I think it's not one of those subjects that students will normally cry, like science, and they say the chemistry, how do I do physics, how do I there was an interesting part where people were supposed to identify voices of some personalities and pictures of some personalities, and basically it's a wonderful program. It's one of its kind in the country.
We intentionally did that. You see, what we realized, there was a reason we did that. It wasn't like we are doing it for fun. We realized that students were so much focused on their physics, their chemistry, their course areas, and why they went to school, so that things around them they were very ignorant about. It would shock you to find out that you can ask. The other time we played you play a voice of Otumfo, and the student can't identify the voice of Otumfo. You play a voice of Jerry John Rawlings, and the student can't identify that. It will shock you, but that student knows his maths, he knows his English, he knows his that. So what we try to do is to make students conscious of their environment and begin to relate, because at the end of the day, education is to make you a holistic human being who is aware of everything happening around him or her.
I see. The program, though has been quite successful, comes with some challenges, and one of them is some coordinators, some senior high schools have had issues. Sometimes they argue about responses that were given by their student that he thought they merit the point and was not taken by the quiz masters. And I believe you have heard some of them come to you to complain to you. What do you have to say about that?
See, it's normal with every quiz competition. For every quiz competition, there will always be issues. So what you do is that you have a team of people who resolve the issues. So for instance, if I give a question and a school is arguing about, say, the answer or the answer that the student gave and I didn't give full marks and all that, and they're arguing, what you do is that you see the technical team. Quickly, the video is there, so they go look at the video, and if you deserve it, they would come back and tell me that this school deserve it, give it to them. If you don't, they will tell me, and then we move on. So we go, but even as the program is running, we have a mechanism of resolving issues and all that, because that's how you always deal with fluid issues, and that's what we do.
Last year there was lockdown and students had to go home. When students returned, I think the information given to them was that there shouldn't be any form of gathering. And since then, there have been no sporting activities in our schools. And we know we have talented kids who are coming up. They need to be developed. They need to train and all that. So does the SRC have any role to play in ensuring that upcoming talent are given the platform to showcase their talent and progress to the next stage?
Yes, yeah, we are very keen and interested in that. See, we've been talking a lot on this particular matter. The Regional Sports Federation is liaising with other regional sports federations. They've had a series of meetings. They've written letters and trying to advocate for school sports to be brought back. The challenge, though, is that, for instance, if you look at Interco, Interco can bring up to 40,000 people, 50,000 to the venue.
I agree with you.
Or for Suzu, for instance.
Yeah.
Now, in a COVID era, would you want to risk that? Or so a lot of them have argued and said, okay, why don't we do it, just close doors only for the athletes? But you can also imagine and ask yourself, how would an Interco without spectators? How would a Milo soccer games without spectators?
What about giving schools quota in terms of students, limited number of students?
See, so if you have dealt with senior high school students before, you would have to be careful. I have had programs where we needed the police there for even quiz competitions and all that because students almost misbehave. Now you can tell the school, at times some of the schools are banned, don't come to stadium, and they will still come and move around the stadium facility until you chase them with military people. If you are dealing with SHS students, you have to be careful. If not, you will attempt something and there will be disaster. So we are a bit careful in how you also advocate for these things to be brought back without the right measures being put in place. And that's why I told you that conversations are still ongoing to look at what will be the best modalities to be able to hold the games and still keep people safe.
So, entertainment as well. Local SRC and students are talking.
Yes.
And sometimes they don't get any response.
Yes. You see, for entertainment, normally you look at the program. SRC meetings are going on. And for SRC meetings and all that, the schools have, because I have gone to a lot of the schools to even conduct orientations for them, because it's just a program that students sit down, you do the social distancing, there's no much movement and all that, so it's okay. But for entertainment, typically, if for instance it's a dance, it's something that really involves breaking of all the protocols. You don't want to encourage it. So these are things that we are cautiously monitoring. And I have had a lot of complaints from students, school is boring, we want to do that, but I tell them, your life versus entertainment. Let's be very careful how we go. But for instance, something like video show, something that they can sit quietly and observe, maybe. But in terms of other things and all that, it's very difficult to do it in schools.
You have a YouTube channel known as Sir Raph TV. In fact, I chanced upon a very interesting video, and I saw students of a school who had queued, who were in the queue to go for their voting and in fact, it wasn't manual voting, electronic voting, or e-voting as we call it. How many schools in Ashanti region actually do that?
Well, quite a number of them. Quite a number of them. I introduced the idea of e-voting to them some 2-3 years ago. I know KTI were doing it, St. Louis were doing it. There are a lot of schools that embrace the idea because it takes away the manual use of papers and a lot of inconvenience and all that. Again, when you are voting, the results is already showing, so students get to know how the results is going, and it creates some bit of excitement and all that. So e-voting, just that it comes with some level of cost, and at times maybe the schools compare it with the manual voting and they feel that they can do the manual. But I always encourage the e-vote because e-voting is the future. It's the future of elections, and when you embrace it early, students get used to it. In future, when we decide to move away as a nation from manual voting to electronic voting as done by the Americans and all that, these students will always be aware.
Sir Raph, a Form 3 student have completed, I think most of them are done with their papers. We want you to, that is your camera, we want you to look into the camera as a student leader, a youth activist, a trainer, and a champion for development of the youth. We want you to say something to the younger ones who have just completed their papers and are living for their various goals.
Okay. My dear students, graduates, let me use the word graduates who have completed school this year. The road is ahead of you. There are a lot of challenges out there in the outside world. The situation will not be rosy. It will not be the way you imagine it, a soap opera or a movie with a predetermined conclusion. Life, it's not easy. Now, the experiences you have gathered in school should guide and shape you for your tertiary education. Therefore, as you spend time in the house, use that opportunity to build your capacity. Do something that you have not done for yourself. Read a book, learn something, learn a trade, add something to your life, add value to your life. When you have done that, you would have an extra advantage over the other person who didn't do anything. And then when the results are released and you are very lucky, you can move to a tertiary institution having made the correct decision. Get people to guide you. Choose the best of friends. Let them shape your life. Hold people who have the same vision and ambition like you. Hold their hands. Push yourself to the limit. Guide yourself to a successful future. And when all of you get to the top, you can look back with a smile.
Thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it.